In this video, I'm going to quickly go over a review of factoring. This method is called the AC method. It's one of the many different methods of factoring quadratic equations, but I'm going to show you this one. So the first step is to multiply A and C, and so what I'm going to do, actually what I'm going to do first is I'm going to just label A, B, and C. A is this number in front of x squared, so if there's nothing there, it's always a 1. B is this thing here in front of the x, so I'm going to write a 3, and C is the last piece there, and that last piece there is a 2. Okay, so now I have my A, B, and C. First step in using the AC method is multiply A and C, so that would be 1 times 2 equals 2. Now, step 2. Step 2 is to factor this thing here, factor my A times C, and you want to use all of the factors. So in this case, there's only 1 and 2. And step 3 is simply we want to add these factors to the value for B. So in this case, B is 3, so I like to put equal and then 3. And so what way could I take 1 and 2 and combine them to get 3? It'd have to be 1 plus 2 is 3. Now, the next step is to replace, so step 4, replace bx with the two pieces you just created. So an example of this would be here are the two pieces, and so if I have x squared plus 3x plus 2 equal to 0, I want to break this into two pieces. What two pieces? 1 and 2. So I have x squared plus x plus 2x plus 2. Now, step 5 is to group the first two terms and second two terms. So I'm going to group the first two terms and group the second two terms. Now I'm going to, in my 6th step, take out the GCF, and that's the greatest common factor. So what do these two things have in common? They have an x in common. So I'm going to factor out an x. And so x squared, factoring is kind of like dividing. So x squared divided by x is x. X divided by itself is just 1. Now what do these two things have in common? A 2. So I'm going to put plus 2 because it was a positive 2 that they had in common. And what's left? X plus, what's 2 divided by 2? 1. And lastly, we notice these two things share that x plus 1. So I'm going to, in step 7, I'm going to take out the shared piece and write both of the factors. Okay, so here's the first factor, is that shared piece. So I'm going to write that shared piece down. And then I'm going to take the piece in front and this piece in front. I'm going to move them here. X plus 2 there. So I took this x and this plus 2 and put it there, equal to 0. So that's just a quick review on factoring. If you need more help, this is just one way. There's many other ways to do factoring, and so I'm not going to show those in this video, but maybe at a later date.